There's only 3 things you need to know to make good bread, and that is leavening, gluten, and steam. Let's start with gluten. You may not realize this, but there's actually 3 different types of flour: bread flour, AP flour, and cake flour. To show you the different amount of glutens in each flour, we're going to make a dough out of them and massage them under a running sink to wash all the flour away and just be left with gluten. Here's our bread flour. You can tell it's a pretty big ball of gluten. There's a lot of gluten in bread flour, which the reason why it's called bread flour is because you want all that structure to hold a piece of bread together. This is the all-purpose flour, or AP flour. Big ball of gluten, not as big as a bread flour, but still a surprisingly amount of gluten left over. Now, this one is the cake flour. There's literally nothing left. Very, very little amount of gluten. So, what does this tell you? If you want to make bread, something with needs more structure, you don't use cake flour. You could use AP flour, but if you want it to be like a nice baguette, you use bread flour. If you want to make a nice fluffy cake, you use cake flour. Now, the other thing you need to know to step up your bread game is leavening. In bread, there are 2 main different types of leaveners: biological, meaning yeast, and chemical, meaning baking powder, baking soda. But one thing people don't realize is that baking powder is actually just a mixture of baking soda, cornstarch, and a catalyst to help the chemical reaction last longer. When do you know what leavener you need to use? If it has structure, or gluten, you'd use yeast, like a bread. If it has very little structure, very little gluten, like a cake, you would use baking powder. So now that you understand that, let's make some bread. In a large bowl, we're going to mix 6 cups of bread flour, and then we're going to add 1 big teaspoon of dry active yeast. Kind of sprinkle that over. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons and 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. So I'll mix that up so it's all evenly distributed. We're going to add 3 cups of room temperature or slightly warmed water. If you have a KitchenAid with a dough hook, use that. But if you don't have one, it's a-okay just to use your hands. And once the dough balls pretty much all come together, just throw it out on the table. The dough is soft because no gluten has been formed. Knead by hand for about 8 minutes. But as you knead it, the dough ball will firm up. You want it to be slightly sticky because all that flour is still dehydrated. It's going to absorb all that water that's still in the dough. So a little sticky, that's okay. So now we're going to let the dough rest for 30 minutes at room temperature, or until it doubles in size. Room temperature for here is about 70 degrees. So that'll kind of help you gauge where you should be at. I lined my bowl with a little bit of olive oil. That's optional, but that just helps it release after the 30 minutes. And then you're gonna rest a warm, wet washcloth over the top of it just to keep it nice and humid and keep the dough from drying out on top. Now 30 minutes has gone by. Let's check it out. Punch and flip, and let rest for another 30 minutes. Another 30 minutes has gone by. Punch, 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 punch. So now the dough's at this stage, you can literally do anything with it now. You can make it into dinner rolls, you can make it into baguettes, you can put it into a mold to make a loaf. But what we're gonna do is make focaccia. What we got is an oiled cookie sheet. Kind of spread it out. Now I'm gonna saran wrap the top of it and let it rest for another 10 minutes. I know, but be patient, it's worth it. So the cool thing about focaccia is you can put anything you want on top. My personal favorite are caramelized onions, but it's like a pizza. You can put half this, half that, and it's great. Love it. Everyone loves it. The party loves it. Another good one for the other side are some cherry tomatoes. You just kind of push them in there. So this is where it gets a little confusing. The key to crispy crust is steam. No joke, steam. So what we're gonna do is we have a pan on a fire, get it ripping hot, throw it at the bottom of the oven, and then throw our focaccia just above it. At the beginning, as it's cooking, we're gonna throw ice cubes on that pan so it immediately vaporizes in steam, which will promote a crispy crust. We'll do this about 2 times, in the beginning and halfway through cooking. There's literally nothing better than fresh out of the oven bread. So now we have our bread. It goes really well alongside with some olive oil and some balsamic vinegar to dip it in. To prove that it's good, I brought a friend, Kelsey, if you want to come on in and try some. So, so we have our roasted tomato with oregano and then caramelized onion.
It looks so
Focaccia.
good.
So yeah, try one.
Well, you gotta try one with me.
Sure, yeah. Of course.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's so good. You did it.
We did it.
I want to dip it.
What you gotta do is you gotta like dunk it down to the bottom of the vinegar.
Alright, I'm going down.
It's like Italy.
Totes like Italy.
Totes Italy.
Can you tell we're American?
Oh yeah, Totes America.
Which one do you like better?
I like the onion just because it's like, it reminds me of like a burger, but
a burger?
That's a terrible thing to say.
That is a terrible thing to say.
You better subscribe.
Oh, that's right. So,
Right?
if you like what you saw here and you want to see more, subscribe or and look at some other videos. There's going to be more coming out. I don't know what that was. So if you like what you saw here and you want to keep in touch and see more videos, please subscribe. Like if you like the video, and if you have any comments about food, please leave it in the comment section below. So Kelsey, thanks for coming on. And as always, keep cooking.